All right. Hi, ladies and gentlemen. I am Stephanie Keel, the Director of Marketing at the Art Center of Kershaw County, and we are ecstatic to present The Importance of Being Earnest. It will be on your screen, not on your stage. And tonight we are speaking with James Kirk. Welcome, James. Thank you so much for being here and being a part of this production.
Thank you for having us.
How are you? How is this going? How is the show going?
Well, it's been absolutely fascinating because I think what we are achieving here ultimately is a weird combination of cinema and stage. Obviously, we are presenting a very famous stage play that's been around for such a long time. But the way we're doing it with green screens behind us and lights in our homes and a camera in our homes is a lot like cinema. So that process has been fascinating to me. And with Frank and Richard and the other Frank, the director, we've got some really terrific footage. I think that the presentation overall is going to be fantastic. I'm very eager to see it.
I am too. I think we definitely are calling you guys a star-studded cast. We have the celebrities for The Importance of Being Earnest. I want to know just if you could tell us a little bit about yourself, your theater history, how you got into this, and how it sort of fits into your life.
Well, for me, arts and creative endeavors are so important. David Lynch said, anyone who creates is okay in my book. And I have done so much as a journalist and a cartoonist and enjoy filmmaking and being on stage, making little model kits. I think creative output of in many areas is important to me. But on stage, with this exception, usually you get a rush when you have a reaction from the audience. And that's what I love about live performance, is that you get feedback. If you're terrible, they'll let you know. They'll be either not laugh or hopefully they won't boo you. And if you're doing a good job, then they certainly let you know. So that part of theater to me is fascinating. And I've been doing theater off and on most of my adult life. I started in high school, and then in college, I did a lot of theater at USC. And I was particularly involved in some of the acting and playwriting classes. I love doing the original student productions that were written for a class. And that's where I really fell in love with performing, was in college at USC. And subsequently, I ended up graduating from the Seattle Barista Academy, something until today I have never put in my bio.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. So I want to ask you, I know we kind of touched on COVID a little bit, but obviously with the stage not being a part of the show, and you guys are all on Zoom, and you're doing your own wardrobe, you're doing your own hair, you're doing all of those things. If you could just sort of elaborate on that a little bit as far as what it's been like for you personally behind the scenes. What is it like?
Well, I think I'm probably the exception in this group, and that I feel and have felt a little lost. I do very well when I'm with people, collaborating, rehearsing with people together, on the same stage or in the same room. I get a lot of energy from that. So this production for me, it's been a little difficult because I don't know anything about costuming and just not sure what to do. And got some guidance from Frank Thompson. So, I'm passable and I do a passable job, but that has been a challenge for me, is that lack of person-to-person, face-to-face collaboration. I really thrive on that. And I've missed that, despite the fact that I think we've got a great cast. And under the circumstances, this has been really, really awesome, really cool thing to be involved with.
That's so great. So on another personal note, do you have a favorite production, straight play or musical? Is there one that you love more than the others?
Well, on plays, pretty much anything by David Mamet. I just love his way with dialogue and language. And my favorite musical, and I think one of our cast members said this as well, as Sweeney Todd. I've seen it twice on Broadway with Patti LuPone. It's dark. I don't know what it is about that musical, but I really like the story and love the music.
What about a performer, an actor or actress? Do you have a favorite, either on camera or theater? Is there someone that you sort of are inspired by, or that you look up to, or maybe even emulate?
Years ago, I fell in love with Diane Keaton, and I'm still in love with Diane Keaton. And if I were available, I would be waiting. I am married at the moment, but I think what she brought to many of her roles, from Annie Hall to Godfather, was this innocence and this quirkiness that was very identifiable on the part of the audience. You know, she wasn't glamorous like Lauren Bacall, who's another actress I absolutely adore. But she seemed very real in the way, whether it was comedic or dramatic role. I just think she's fantastic.
She is one of the best, without question. She's one of my favorites too. So we've kind of talked about COVID and sort of your background. I wanted to also discuss your role in this particular show, in The Importance of Being Earnest. Who are you playing? And tell us about your character.
I play Algernon. He is a mooch. He is very self-centered and thinks he is the smartest, cleverest person in the room, and he might be. He is a young man who certainly enjoys life, but everything has to be on his own terms, and he is not above delving into absurdity in order to enjoy himself or live his life or accomplish his goals. And I kind of like that about him. And until I was involved in this production, I didn't realize what a funny show this was. I had seen it on stage and it was played really straight and it was a little boring. But I think the two Franks have done a great job of bringing out the humor that's certainly intended in the play. And that's been, for me, a wonderful experience exploring this very self-centered, but quite interesting and amusing fella.
That brings me to my next question about the importance of being earnest. For so many of our audience members, you know, I think we have people who have been involved in the theater their entire lives, or perhaps they're theater lovers, but we also have so many people who perhaps have never seen this show. What is it about this show that makes it special? Why do you think people should tune in?
It's interesting, and I think it's important to understand and appreciate the classics, this being one of them, and to realize how Oscar Wilde weaved in a lot of the social mores, but with some of the double entendres, for example, very witty way of sort of picking at the prudishness of his society. And you have to come at it with a little bit of intelligence. It's certainly not something you really have to think about, but I think for an audience to just sort of open yourself up and put yourself in that time, you can really appreciate what's being said, because this show is not stuffy at all, despite the costumes.
I love that. I love that. I'm so curious to see how many watches and views you guys will get. I have a feeling it's going to be up there. We are just very humbled by what you are all doing, what you have put together for the Art Center. I thank you on behalf of our staff and all of our patrons, and just thank you so much for your time and just shedding some light on what you guys are really doing here. I think it's phenomenal. So thank you.
Thank you. I'm James Kirk, and I play Algernon in The Importance of Being Earnest. And my favorite line from the show is, "Please don't eat the muffins."